a quiet rest stop off Interstate 95 in South Carolina. The time is 8:47 p.m. The camera pans across the dimly lit parking lot, where a few cars are scattered. The hum of distant highway traffic fills the air. A black SUV is parked near the edge of the lot, its engine still running. Inside, a young black girl, about 12 years old, sits in the passenger seat. Her name is Jasmine Carter. In the driver's seat is a middle-aged white man, Gregory Hayes, who claims to be her father. But something feels off. Sometimes, the most ordinary places hide the most extraordinary stories. This is one of those places. A rest stop. A quiet, unassuming rest stop off Interstate 95. It's the kind of place you pass by without a second thought. But tonight, this rest stop would become the stage for a moment that would change lives forever. It was 8:47 p.m. on a cool October evening, the kind of night where the air feels heavy with secrets. A black SUV pulled into the lot, its headlights cutting through the darkness. Inside that SUV was a young girl named Jasmine Carter, 12 years old, bright-eyed, quiet, and next to her, a man who introduced himself as her father. But not everything is as it seems. Jasmine had been silent for most of the drive, her hands fidgeted in her lap, her eyes darting to the rearview mirror every few seconds. Gregory Hayes, the man behind the wheel, kept glancing at her, his expression unreadable. He was a Marine, or at least, he claimed to be. His demeanor was calm, almost too calm. But Jasmine knew better. She knew something was wrong. And then it happened. As Gregory stepped out of the car to grab something from the trunk, Jasmine saw her chance. She quickly made a hand gesture, a simple, deliberate motion. It was the universal sign for help, a signal she had learned from a safety video at school. She didn't know if anyone would see it. She didn't know if anyone would care. But she had to try. Little did she know, someone was watching. Across the parking lot, a man named Sergeant Daniel Harper was filling up his gas tank. A Marine himself, Daniel had just returned from deployment. He was tired, eager to get home to his family. But something caught his eye. A young girl in a black SUV. A hand gesture, a silent plea for help. Daniel froze. His training kicked in. He knew that gesture. He knew what it meant. And he knew he couldn't ignore it. What followed was a chain of events that would test courage, reveal hidden truths, and remind us all that sometimes heroes come in the most unexpected forms. This is the story of the Rest Stop Rescue. A story about a girl who refused to stay silent, a Marine who refused to look away, and a night that would change everything. Daniel Harper wasn't looking for trouble. He wasn't even looking for a distraction. But when he saw that gesture, something inside him shifted. He couldn't explain it, but he knew he had to act. As he walked toward the SUV, his mind raced. Who is this girl? Who is the man with her? And why did she need help? Gregory Hayes noticed Daniel approaching. His body language changed instantly. He closed the trunk and stepped toward Daniel, his voice calm but firm. "Can I help you?" he asked. Daniel hesitated. He didn't have proof. He didn't even have a plan. All he had was a gut feeling, and that feeling told him something was very, very wrong. "Just checking in," Daniel replied, his eyes darting to Jasmine. She was staring at him, her eyes wide with fear and hope. It was all the confirmation he needed. Jasmine Carter had been through more in her 12 years than most people experience in a lifetime. Born into a broken home, she had learned early on how to survive, how to read people, how to stay quiet when she needed to. But tonight, she couldn't stay quiet. Gregory Hayes wasn't her father. He was a family friend, or so he had claimed. But when her mother went missing 2 weeks ago, Gregory had shown up at her school, saying he was there to take her home. Except home wasn't where they were going. Jasmine didn't know where they were headed. She didn't know what Gregory wanted, but she knew one thing. She had to get away. And so, when she saw Daniel Harper approaching, she felt a flicker of hope. Maybe, just maybe, someone had finally noticed her. But hope is a fragile thing. And in that moment, it hung by a thread. The next few minutes were a blur. The police arrived, their sirens cutting through the night like a knife. Gregory Hayes tried to explain, his voice rising in frustration. But the evidence was mounting. The fake ID, the inconsistencies in his story. And then there was Jasmine. When the officers asked her if Gregory was her father, she shook her head. "No," she whispered. "He took me." Those 3 words changed everything. Gregory was arrested on the spot. Jasmine was taken to safety. And Daniel Harper? He stayed with her until her real family could be contacted. It was a moment of triumph, a moment of relief. But it was also a moment of reflection. Because this story isn't just about a rescue. It's about the power of awareness, the importance of speaking up, and the courage it takes to stand up for someone who can't stand up for themselves. Jasmine Carter is safe now. Thanks to the quick thinking of a stranger, she was given a second chance. But not every story ends this way. Not every cry for help is heard. So, the next time you're in a rest stop or a parking lot or anywhere at all, remember the story. Remember Jasmine. Remember Daniel. And remember that sometimes the smallest actions can make the biggest difference. If this story moved you, don't forget to subscribe and comment below. Let's keep the conversation going, because stories like this remind us of the power we all have to change lives. Thank you for watching. And remember, always pay attention. You never know who might need your help.